You're listening to PetLifeRadio.com.
It's Oh Behave with Arden Moore, the show that teaches you how to have harmony in the household with your pets. Join Arden as she travels coast to coast to help millions better understand why cats and dogs do what they do. Get the latest scoop on famous faces, their perfectly pampered pets, and who's walking who in Rin Tin Tinseltown. From famous pet experts and best-selling authors to television and movie stars, you'll get the latest buzz from wagging tongues and tails. Garner great pet tips and have a doggone fur-flying fun time. So get ready for the pause and applause as we unleash your Oh Behave host, America's pet edutainer, Arden Moore.
Welcome to the Oh Behave Show on Pet Life Radio. I'm your host, Arden Moore. Raise your paw if you share your home with a cat or more. Now, is that cat bored, looking for adventure? You know the type. I actually live with one myself. Casey is a 1-year-old, fast-growing, athletic, orange tabby who just loves to perch on the tippy top of my kitchen cabinets and squeeze his body between two breakable teacup sets. I bet at times he thinks his middle name is Off! Get down now! Now, our special guest today is tapping into that mischievous nature of our cats. You know, the ones who love to swipe objects off surfaces and reach new heights. He's part of a 3-man team who's created a first-person cat simulator game that's fast becoming the cat's meow in online games. It's called Catlateral Damage, and once you play it, you'll be hooked. Please welcome to the show, Eitan Glinert.
Thanks so much for having me here, Arden.
Did I do it right this time?
You did. You got it.
All right. Now, folks, we're laughing because we have done the name game about 700 times before the show because Eitan Glinert is not easy to say.
Now you got it wrong.
Oh, my God. See, I'm going to play it again.
You were ahead. You should have stopped till you were ahead.
Darn it. All right.
Let's talk about the game, though, not my name.
No, it's Eitan Glinert, right?
Close enough.
No way. Hey, let's spell your name.
Eitan Glinert. That's it.
Let's say it 3 times. Ready? Go for it.
Eitan Glinert. Eitan Glinert. Eitan Glinert.
Okay, you better name your children Joe and Deb, I swear, okay? But
we're still going to have Glinert, though, so it'll still be halfway difficult.
Oh, that's true. Well, we're going to find out more about his name and this amazing game, but we have to pay for this show, so you guys know the drill. Sit, purr, groom, whatever. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
Time for a pause. 4 furry ones, actually. Sit and stay. Oh Behave will be right back.
It's DesignerPetSweaters.com. Hand-knitted designer sweaters for your precious pup or cool cat. Beautiful couture patterns for your pets, including custom-knitted formal wear, casual wear, yachting, and even sports-themed. Many designer pet sweaters include feathered tammy hats, top hats, and a lot of sparkle. Each sweater includes leg loops, front paw sleeves, and leash opening. Visit DesignerPetSweaters.com to order your 4-legged fashions today. Your pets will stay warm for the winter and be runway ready. Large or small, we fit them all. DesignerPetSweaters.com.
Let's Talk Pets on PetLifeRadio.com. Oh Behave is back with more tail-wagging ways to achieve harmony in the household with your pets. Now, back to your fetching host, America's pet edutainer, Arden Moore.
Welcome back to the Oh Behave Show on Pet Life Radio. I'm your host, Arden Moore. Our special guest today has a name I'm going to stumble on. It is Eitan Glinert. No, Eitan Glinert.
We're not playing who's on first. So this is not going to be the show. We're talking about the game. Let's talk about the game.
All right. But Eitan is one of the geniuses behind a hot new online game. It's called Catlateral Damage. Yes. Catlateral Damage is considered to be the premier first-person destructive cat simulator. Now, you finally have permission to play as a cooped-up house cat and knock stuff off onto the floor. You say goodbye, stress. You say hello, kitty, fun, right, Eitan?
That's exactly what the game is. It's a game where you play through the eyes of a house cat that's just on a rampage, that's running around, knocking stuff over, playing with cat toys, having a great time. The things that your cat does on a regular basis, that's what you get to do in the game.
Now, do you have a cat or two in your life?
I actually don't now. I used to. I had 2 cats up until a few years ago, and I haven't replaced them. I should get more cats, though. The main guy behind it, Chris, actually grew up with cats. It was inspired by his childhood cat, Nippy. He had Nippy, I think, for around 13 years. Great cat, but would always knock a few things over while he was out of the house, and he thought this would be a great way to kind of memorialize the cat. And now Chris actually has 2 new cats, Will and Lynn, we actually feature them pretty prominently in the game.
Of course, he names his cats names we can pronounce. Do you notice that, right?
But he does weird spellings. He takes letters out of their names. So Will is W-I-L and Lynn is L-Y-N.
Do you think they notice?
You know, they're pretty chill about it, I have to say. When I asked them about it, they just kind of walked up to me and, headbutted me a little bit. So I think they're okay with it.
That's a kitty hello. When it comes
that means they like you.
When it comes to the whole online world, I think cats really are the top dog, pardon the play. But seriously, you do things like there's apps for cats to play with on your iPad. There's Cats and Sinks. There's a whole series of that. What do you think it is about cats that inspired you guys to create this Catlateral Damage game? But, there's something about cats that, dogs are always trying to please us, but, cats not so much.
Cats, yeah, I like the Winston Churchill quote. What is it? I like pigs because dogs look up to you, cats look down on you, and pigs think you're on the same level, So cats definitely have a little bit of aloofness to them, right? But generally speaking, they're very playful. Anyone who has a cat knows that they're extremely affectionate, and they kind of just have their own mind about things. They don't really think the same way that we do. And so them going around and running around and playing with things and interacting with other cats and stuff like that, that's a fun cat's life. And this game tries to give a little bit of a glimpse into that. And I think that's also part of the reason you ask kind of why the internet likes them so much. They're just also adorable to look at. Look at all the cat videos out there, right?
Oh, my gosh, I know. I want to come back as a cat. You say, we're just going to create Catlateral Damage, no problem. You had to do a whole thing, Kickstarter campaign. This is not an easy thing to do. I did play the game. I almost got to your max points on. You go to catlateraldamage.com, folks, and you check it out. It's a lot of fun. There's a fun little video, too, of a gal who is just channeling her inner cat.
That's actually me in the video. I'm the boyfriend of that video. Yep.
Well, you're the guy. You're not the chick, right? I was thinking. All right, now you're
no,
really
I'm not the girl.
Me. All right, yeah. Okay.
Yep.
All right, good to know.
We had a lot of fun taping that. So an interesting point about that video. So if you go to catlateraldamage.com, you can see we have a 90-second infomercial for the game. It's very weird. It's very funny. You should watch it. And in the video, we actually have a cat actress. I don't know if you noticed, but there's a cat that's featured prominently in the video that's doing stuff. And one of the things that she does is, her name is Zoe, and she goes around and knocks over a bunch of stuff. So how on earth did we get Zoe to knock over stuff on camera? And it was actually very difficult to do. And what we wound up doing was we would take little cat treats and we would position them in a way where it was kind of wedged slightly underneath the object we wanted her to knock over. So she would bat at the object to get the treat, and that's how she would get it. So we filmed her knocking over lots of stuff that had cat treats under. And actually, at one point in the video, if you look closely, she knocks over and breaks a little porcelain vase. And if you look really close to the video, you can see there's a little brown object on the table after she knocks it over that she goes for as soon as she's done knocking it over, and that's the cat treat for her.
Now, you have just gone against every cat behaviorist on the planet. They're probably going, he just taught everybody to get the cats to knock things over by hiding treats. It's like Easter egg hunt 365.
But she's an actress. It's filming.
Oh, I know. Okay, that's right. She was in the moment. She was
working. Yeah, this is business here.
It ain't monkey
and
business.
She was loving
business.
it.
Oh, yeah,
we actually took some pictures of her when she was done filming, and she was so happy because she had, like a dozen cat treats, and she was like in a great mood, and it was really, really fun. But as it turns out, filming cats is very difficult.
It is, but folks, it's a great video, and you gotta check it out. Let's get a little 411 on you. What's your background in gaming and computer design?
Gaming and cats.
Yeah.
I should give my pet background too, right? I think that's relevant here. So I actually grew up with mostly dogs. There was one point where we spent a year living in Seattle and we had cats out there. But most of the time we had dogs, and cats were actually a later addition in my life that I got in my 20s. So that's kind of my pet credentials. But so I love both, I guess is the point. I don't want to come up, obviously, for the purposes of this video game, I'm more pro-cat, but if I'm honest, truthfully, in my private life, I love both animals. I've been making video games for around a decade now. I was an MIT guy who was doing biotech, and after I graduated, nothing to do with video games. After I graduated through a really weird sequence of events, I wound up getting a job offer. There was an educational video game called Immunotech that teaches immunology to high school students, and they needed a programmer that understood immunology, and that was me. So I got involved with that. And it turned out that I liked video games, a lot more than I liked biotech. So I wound up switching into the field. I've been making games for a while. I started up Firehose Games around 7 years ago, and we've been making video games ever since. And more recently, we started doing something new where we wanted to help new game developers make different types of games. So we wanted to collaborate with people making other types of games. And there's a local developer called Chris that we knew, and Chris is the guy that I mentioned before with all the cats. Mm-hmm. And Chris was working at a different video game company, and he had kind of the lowest, crappiest job you can have. It was really it was a video game tester, which is the worst job you can have in the industry. You just sit in a room, you play a game all day. It's very boring. You have to write up detailed bug reports on it. It is not a fun job. So Chris is doing this job. It's not fun.
Right.
And he goes and he takes a few days off to do what's called a game jam. And a game jam is when you take a few days off to kind of refresh your mind and make a different type of game, something else just for fun to work on the side. And he's not, that's not really what he does. He's a tester, but he decides he's going to go and program and do the art for his own video game. And he took part in what's called the 7-day FPS, the 7-day first-person shooter game jam. So you have a week to make a first-person shooter game. And a first-person shooter game is a game where you see through the eyes of someone else and you go and shoot people. It's Call of Duty. It's Medal of Honor. It's any of these games where you go around shooting people. They're usually very violent, and they're very popular with people. And Chris saw this and thought to himself, I wonder if I could do something a little bit more interesting than your run-of-the-mill, run-around and shoot people thing. And he's a super passionate cat lover, and he thought, well, maybe the first-person view, instead of being a person, instead of being a human, you're a cat. And maybe instead of having a gun in your hands, you have cat paws. Well, what would you do if you had cat paws? And so he made this little demo of a game where you run around in a house and you knock over books. So you have this room full of people making all these different first-person shooter games, people running around shooting people, and this one guy in the corner who's making a game where you're a cat and knocking over water bottles and knocking over houseplants, okay? And it's just hilarious. Everyone in the game jam loves this game. He winds up putting it up online, and it takes off. Reddit loves it. A bunch of internet sites pick it up. YouTubers are talking about it because it's such a weird, wacky idea, and it's fun to play. So we knew Chris at the time. We were super impressed with his vision that, here's this really understood genre that he's completely taking in a different direction, doing something totally new and different. We loved what he was doing, and we decided, hey, come work with us. Quit your job, stop doing this testing nonsense, go make the game full-time, work with us, we'll do a Kickstarter, we'll raise a bunch of money, and we'll make this game a reality. And so he did that, he came, he started working with us. We ran a Kickstarter around a year ago that was very successful, and we had a lot of phenomenal backers who were all cat lovers who helped us fund the game, and we've been working on it ever since.
Seriously, I love a dude with passion, and you definitely have it. So after you explain the Kickstarter, we're going to have to take a quick commercial break afterwards. So I am now handing the mic over to you.
Sure. So Kickstarter is an online crowdfunding website where people can give you money to go and make whatever your creative passion project is. And they don't just give you money, they're kind of pre-ordering whatever you're making. So in exchange for them giving you money, you promise them that you're going to give them copies of your game or whatever. Right. And so when we ran our Kickstarter, we had different tiers. People could donate different amounts. And one of the tiers was you could give us money, and we would put a picture of your cat in the game. So you could go and play the game and see your cat in the game. And so people loved this. They were, giving us money. We had, I think, 200 people that gave us money to put their cats in the game. And we started getting requests from people if they could give us pictures of their dog instead of their cat.
Oh.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And so we talked about it a lot, and we decided in the end, sure, we don't want to turn money away because we're trying to build up money for the project. So if you want to have your dog in the game in a picture, you have to give us an extra $1. The picture has to look stupid, and we're going to make it look really goofy. So every time there's a picture of a cat on the wall, it's in a nice frame. It's like either a framed picture on a table or a poster. It looks very nice. Whenever there's a picture of a dog, it's askew, it looks goofy, the dog has this really derpy grin on his face. So really, cat superiority is a strong theme in the game.
Well, I like that. We're talking about dignity, and cats have it with a capital D. And right now we're talking to Eitan Glinert. I hope I did that right this time.
Yep, you got it.
Oh, my gosh. He's one of the geniuses behind the new game that's getting unleashed this month.
It's getting unleashed in 5 days, May 27th.
5 days. All right. And you got to go to catlateraldamage.com, and that's CATLATERAL damage.com. We're going to find out more about this game, little inside strategy secrets, and more after we take this quick commercial break. So everybody sit, purr, swat something off the table. We'll be right back.
Time for a walk on the red carpet, of course. All Behave will be back in a flash right after these messages.
Hi, I'm Dana Humphrey, the founder of Whitegate PR. We have been specializing in PR and marketing in the pet industry for over 10 years. If you have a pet product or service you would like to promote, give us a call. We can help create awareness for your brand on TV, radio, magazines, newspapers, and blogs. Feel free to reach me directly at 619-414-9307 or learn more on our website at whitegatepr.com or follow us on Facebook.
Let's talk pets.
Let's talk pets
On Pet Life Radio.
Pet Life Radio.
PetLifeRadio.com.
Hi, this is Steve Wozniak, and I would love to invite you to listen to the O Behave Show by Arden Moore on Pet Life Radio.
We're back from the lot. Just checked the paper and we had a record showing at the box. The letterbox, that is. Now back to O Behave. Here's Arden.
Welcome back to the O Behave Show on Pet Life Radio. I'm your host, Arden Moore. I gotta say, in the years I've had this show, we've had Betty White, Jennifer Aniston, but this is my first gamer, and I love it. And we're talking to Eitan Glinert, and he is one of the guys behind the new game you gotta get your paws on. It's called Catlateral Damage, and I like the idea that you're giving that little personal touch with people sending in photos of their cats.
Oh, great cat pun, by the way.
All right,
we have lots
now,
of cat puns in the game.
Let's talk about how they can get their paws on this. I know there's different ways, and I have learned a new word, Steam. You got Windows, Mac, Linux. I mean, just talk about, let's be a computer geek for a minute and tell us the different ways people can access this game.
Sure. So there are two ways to get the game. The game is a computer game, so it's not a game that you play on your iPhone or iPad. Sorry, you need an actual computer to play it. And there are two ways to get it. The first way is through Steam. Steam is kind of the iTunes of video games, so it's an online store where you can buy just a huge library of games. On May 27th, you'll be able to go there and buy Catlateral Damage on Steam. The other way that you can do it is you can go to our website, catlateraldamage.com, and you can just buy it there. And it's the same price. The game is going to be $9.99. It's going to be on sale for the first week or two at $8.99, so it'll be a little bit cheaper if you get it kind of in the first week or two. And that's how you pick it up. And it's cross-platform, so it works on Macs, it works on PCs, and if you happen to be one of the only people on Earth who has a Linux computer, it works on that too.
And I'm laughing because I actually have a neighbor friend named Jocelyn Shannon who's traveling right now all over the world, and she is a former high school librarian who is a Linux lady. So I'm going to have to tell her about this.
She will be able to play this game.
She would love it. And let's talk, I mean, I know you're not a shrink. I mean, you went to MIT and you got some creds with you. But I got to tell you, we get kind of stressed out and you get deadlines. Psychologically, how is Catlateral Damage going to help us?
How is Catlateral Damage going to help us as a society? That's a really important question. People talk a lot about income inequality, and they talk a lot about, justice in society. I think Catlateral Damage is going to solve all of those problems. If you've ever seen Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, they make music that heals all of society. This video game is the exact same thing.
That's a very well done. I agree because I was playing it, and unlike some games, I didn't feel competitive. I had this inner glee like I was getting away with something. Maybe that's how cats feel. They got this inner glee.
So right. In all seriousness, this game, I think the way that it helps us is this is a very fun, kind of relaxing, silly game to play. It's not, a lot of games are very difficult. They pride themselves on being a hard game to play, so you need to spend a lot of time with it to figure out how to play it and how to do well with it. This game isn't really like that. It's something you can just pick up and just dive right into. There's actually 2 modes. One of the modes is called litter box mode. I told you we have a lot of cat puns. Yeah. So one mode is called litter box mode, and in litter box mode, there's no time limit. There's no pressure. You can do whatever you want. You can take as long as you want. You can go around and, explore and play with whatever you want to do. And then for people who are kind of like more of a challenge, there's the standard objective mode in which you have to kind of run through and hit certain objectives in order to proceed with the game. And it's kind of a goal to see how far you can get. And it's procedurally generated game, which is a new term in video games, which means that everything in the game is created on the fly. So It's not like level 1 always looks the same. We actually have an algorithm that comes up with what level 1 will look like every time and what level 2 will look like. So the game is different every single time you play it. You'll never play the same game twice, so to speak. So you're always in someone else's house and knocking stuff over, but the houses change. And we even put in, it's great because it always switches up. It always feels new and fresh. And we even put in 2 secret bonus levels. One where you can run around a supermarket and knock stuff over. The supermarket. I should use more cat puns from the game. So there's the supermarket where you run around and knock stuff over in a supermarket, and God only knows who let the cat into the supermarket. And the other one is the museum. And in the museum, it's the same idea. There's lots of priceless artifacts. There's even a giant T-Rex skeleton, and, well, you know what you get to do with all of that.
And I know that, you went to MIT and you were going on this very scholarly path. You got to tell me you're having a great time right now.
Oh, yeah.
I know you're working your tail off, but come on.
It is very hard work. I will say, on a serious note, that making video games is probably some of the most difficult, stressful work out there. You work for a very long time. We're talking years trying to make something. It's scary, frankly, because you're working on a creative passion project, and you really need validation. You want people to like the game. You want people to say good things about it. It's your baby. And so we're a little bit nervous for the launch, but we know that the game is good and it's getting good buzz and people really like it, so we're feeling pretty good about it. But yeah, it is a lot of work getting the game to a point where it's ready to ship.
Well, I've been delighted to have Mr. Eitan Glinert on the show. I don't know if I pronounced his name right. He's a good
You got it.
Oh, my gosh. I got to quit while I'm behind. But the game is called Catlateral Damage, folks, and you go to catlateraldamage.com. Do it. Get this game. You will lose all your stress.
You can watch the funny video.
And at the same time, do a little house cleaning and take those breakables and put them behind glass counters, little shelves, so that your kitty doesn't ching break everything. As I said, Casey, my orange tabby, is like a puma in the house, and he thinks it's great folly to knock things down. He's made me quite more neat thanks to that. And my dogs are going to start barking now, I think, because somebody just put something on my door. Oh, I have no good watchdogs. This guy just walked up to my door and put something there, and Chipper and Cleo were hush puppies. That's not so cool. Anyway, I do wish you and Chris Chung and the gang at Catlateral Damage much success. And I love the fact that you're spotlighting the most popular pet on the planet. I know we say that dog is man's best friend, and I have dogs and cats, and like you, I love them both. But really, in sheer numbers, cats rule and dogs drool.
They do.
Yeah. So go to catlateraldamage.com. This is a great game for all ages. And I love the fact that I've learned a new term, procedural generated game.
Yes, exactly. You've got it.
Yeah, and that means it's not going to be boring, same thing every time. No leftovers with this game, folks. I also want to thank my producer, Mark Winter. He produces this show and all the shows on Pet Life Radio. We are on iHeartRadio everywhere. We are 6 million listeners strong, and I thank you for that, Mark. He is the Wizard of Oz of the 21st century. And so until next time, because I'm getting ready to play Catlateral Damage with Casey, this is your flea-free host, Arden Moore, delivering just 2 words to all you 2, 3, and 4-leggers out there. Oh, behave.
Coast to coast and around the world, it's Oh Behave with Arden Moore. Find out why cats and dogs do the things they do, and get the latest buzz from wagging tongues and tails in Rin Tin Tinseltown. From famous pet experts and best-selling authors to television and movie stars, you'll get great tail-wagging pet tips and have a fur-flying fun time. All Behave with America's pet edutainer, Arden Moore. Every week on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com.